What if you woke up one morning and this happened to your investment broker? What would happen to your money as a European if your investment platform like Etoro, Degiro, or Interactive Brokers were to go bankrupt? With all the banks going bust in recent weeks, I got a bit concerned and curious at the same time about what would happen to my money if this were to happen to one of my brokers. So let me share my findings with you. By the way, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, so this is not legal advice. You should always check the terms and conditions of your broker. First, let's talk about segregated accounts, because all of the brokers have to have it, but it's essential for you to understand what it means. When you invest your money with a brokerage firm, they are supposed to keep it in a separate account away from their own money. This is called segregated account, and it's designed to protect your money in case the company goes bankrupt. The idea is that your money will still be safe in that separate account, even if the company were to fail. So even during a bankruptcy, other creditors cannot touch the money in the segregated accounts. But is this always the case? Unfortunately, there have been some situations where segregated accounts failed a little bit to directly protect investors' money, but usually the money is recovered later on. One example is the collapse of MF Global, a brokerage firm that went bankrupt in 2011. MF Global had supposedly kept its clients' monies in segregated accounts, but it turned out that some of the money had been used to cover companies' own losses, which is totally illegal. As a result, some investors lost money that they thought was safe. But later in 2016, most of the money was recovered. Another example is the collapse of Lehman Brothers, which went bankrupt in 2008. I'm sure you remember this, or at least have heard of this. Lehman's bankruptcy caused minimal disruptions to most customers of its broker-dealer Lehman Brothers. One reason is that by law, customers' assets and Lehman's own assets were segregated. So what would happen to your money? In most cases, you should get most of your money back because it's in the segregated accounts, because they are mandatory for brokers operating in Europe. It might take several years to get it back if it's really a fraudulent company, but in most cases you still get it back. On top of that, stocks and bonds are segregated as well, so similar setup, and are usually safe. For example, retailer investors that used Lehman as a broker saw little inconvenience when it went bust. Their assets were moved to a different broker in like few weeks. Not too bad when your bank just collapsed. And when it comes to cash, if you are in the UK, your money would be protected by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, FSCS, up to £85,000. This protection applies because Etoro UK, Degiro UK, and Interactive Brokers UK are authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority, which means it's covered by the FSCS. That's really hard for me for some reason. And for most other European countries, it works like this. Let me use Germany as an example. Your money in Etoro would be protected by the Cyprus Security Exchange Commission up to a certain extent. This protection would apply because Etoro is authorized and regulated by the Cyprus Security and Exchange Commission. Even though you live in Germany, it still applies to you. In addition, Etoro is a member of ICF in Cyprus, which protects clients of investment firms in the event that the firm is unable to meet its financial obligations. This means that if Etoro were to go bankrupt and could not return your funds, you may be able to make a claim to the ICF for up to 20,000 euros. If your account is with Degiro and you live in Germany, your money would be protected by the Dutch Investor Compensation Scheme up to 20,000 euros. This protection applies because Degiro is authorized and regulated by the Dutch Authority for the Finance Markets, even though you live in Germany. Again, it's all across Europe quite similar. With Interactive Brokers, it's a bit more complicated. If your account is with Interactive Brokers and you live in Germany, your cash is covered by the Investor Protection in EU, which means 20,000 if you're a customer of Interactive Brokers Ireland, or 100,000 if you're a customer of Interactive Brokers Central Europe. So there's a distinction there. To check whether you are part of Ireland or Central Europe, pause this video and follow the below steps in your IB account. Then run the report and look what you have at the top of the page. There you should say either it's Interactive Brokers Ireland or Central Europe. Now, personally, I like to spread out my investments over a few different brokers. That way, even if one of them has issues, I know I can access my investments on the other ones. But for some people, this might be an overkill and just adds more things to remember, especially if you're investing with 20,000 or lower. Then it doesn't really matter which broker you choose because you should be covered in case of bankruptcy. Now, generally speaking, I consider investing a defensive move in personal finance. For most of us, it won't make us rich. To learn why and what is a better approach, check out this video right here. And remember, investing always carries risk and it's important to be aware of them.